Imagine knowing the exact date and method of your own death, and then watching a massive shadow slip beneath the waves to come collect. How exactly does a mortal outrun a pre-written fate and an unkillable beast? To answer that, we have to look at how the 10-year siege of Troy actually ended. The Greek king Odysseus bypassed a decade of stalemates using the ultimate deception, a hollow, giant wooden horse that allowed his troops to slip right through the city's impenetrable gates. Deceptions of this magnitude carry a massive supernatural cost. As the city burned, the defeated Trojan king Priam used his final dying breath to cast a devastating, magically binding curse on the victorious Greek king. This diagram shows the 4 pillars of Priam's curse. 1. Penelope will marry another. 2. Telemachus will die without a throne. 3. Odysseus is permanently exiled. And 4. The Kraken will hunt him to collect a blood debt. Burning Troy merely served as the starting gun for a supernatural, ticking clock manhunt across the open ocean. The curse physically manifests the moment Odysseus and his men set sail. Spatial reality begins to break down entirely. Navigational tools become useless as compass needles spin wildly. Steering west pulls the ships east, and turning north drags them south. Then the physical monsters arrive. Driven to a mysterious island for supplies, the crew, including the captive Trojan priestess Circe, is cornered by a cyclops. They narrowly escape after Circe identifies a powerful, sleep-inducing narcotic that can tranquilize the beast. The battlefield shifts to the mind as the crew drifts toward a surreal, glowing pink island. This is the domain of the sirens. The sirens weaponize sanity. They project perfectly crafted auditory illusions across the water, mimicking the voice of Odysseus's wife, Penelope. They promise him a safe route home and absolute peace, begging him to swim to them, a trap designed to drown him in his own deepest desires. He survives the sirens, only to be caught in a far more insidious psychological snare by the goddess Calypso. She offers him forced immortality and a life of eternal comfort, completely removed from the pain of his past and the terrifying reality of his voyage. He rejects the offer. He realizes that an eternal life without pain is also a life without purpose. Choosing to suffer as an aging, vulnerable mortal is the only way he can retain his true identity, his memories of his wife, and his drive to see his son again. The curse's most potent weapon is the temptation to willingly surrender. If Odysseus gives up his mortal identity, the curse wins without ever having to draw blood. Stripped of his navigational tools, Odysseus discovers only one remaining route to Ithaca, the path of the dead. It is a terrifying, cavernous tunnel where he must confront the swirling mist of ghosts from his violent past. The rule of this path is brutally simple. To move forward toward his future, he must physically walk through the manifestations of the very people he slaughtered during the war. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, the second and third pillars of King Priam's prophecy are rapidly snapping into place. Believing Odysseus is dead, a horde of ruthless, parasitic suitors has invaded his palace to steal the throne by force. His son, Telemachus, is now entirely surrounded by these hostile invaders in his own home. He is an heir without an army, moments away from being violently stripped of his birthright. Penelope deploys a desperate stalling tactic to protect her son. She declares she will choose a new husband from the suitors, but only after she finishes weaving an intricate wedding shawl on her loom. Every night in the moonlight, she secretly unravels her own work to buy her family a few more precious days of survival. The curse has created a dual-front war. Odysseus is bleeding and fighting his way through the underworld just to return, while his wife and son fight desperately to preserve the home he is trying to reach. Odysseus finally reaches the shores of Ithaca. To avoid instant assassination, he infiltrates his own palace disguised as an unknown beggar, blending right in with the parasitic suitors crowding the hall. Penelope initiates the ultimate test for the throne. She presents Odysseus's legendary hunting bow. This diagram shows the impossible challenge. The victor must string the massive bow and fire a single arrow perfectly through the dead center of 5 golden rings. The suitors fail miserably. The disguised Odysseus steps up, strings the bow with ease, and nails the shot. In a matter of seconds, he reveals his true identity, slaughters the invaders, reclaims his throne, and instantly shatters the first 3 pillars of Priam's curse. But the prophecy demands a final balance. A massive earthquake rocks the island, signaling the arrival of the 4th pillar. The Kraken violently breaches the ocean's surface off the shores of Ithaca, coming to collect the blood debt from Odysseus. Odysseus prepares to face the unkillable beast and accept his fate. But the Trojan priestess Circe, who has witnessed Odysseus's journey from prisoner to king, steps forward to intervene. Circe understands the magical mechanics of the blood debt. She offers herself to the monster as the last Trojan. By sacrificing her own life, she pays the toll of the curse, satisfying the prophecy and neutralizing the Kraken forever. Odysseus secures his home and his family. The Age of Legends draws its power from the relentless, sacrificial willpower of mortals who looked at their pre-written fates and chose to rewrite them.